Hey everyone, and welcome back to Love Hackers, your daily dose of dating advice. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Sophie Tanaka, your resident dating coach.
Today we're tackling a question that I know keeps a lot of you up at night. What is they? Do you text a girl after you get her number for the first time?
Yeah.
It's like you've conquered this huge mountain, getting the digits, but then you're stuck at base camp wondering, okay, now what?
You're not alone.
Right.
It's a pivotal moment in the early stages of dating.
For sure.
And honestly, there's a lot of outdated advice floating around out there.
Yeah, like that Dusty on 3-day rule.
Oh, yeah.
Is that seriously still a thing?
Let's be real. In the age of instant connection and dating apps, waiting 3 days to text just doesn't cut it. The name of the game is momentum. You've got this window of opportunity to build on that initial spark, and delaying your response can actually make you seem disinterested or worse, like you're playing games.
Plus, think about how many times you've been on the receiving end of a late text. It's almost like the energy fizzles out and you're not as excited about the conversation anymore.
Exactly, and that's the last thing we want. So ditch the 3-day rule and focus on being responsive and engaging when that window of opportunity is open. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should always text immediately after getting her number.
Right, because sometimes you meet someone in person and the vibe is amazing, but you don't want to come on too strong by texting right away.
It all comes down to reading the room, or in this case, reading the interaction. Think about it like this. You wouldn't just walk into a gym and start deadlifting without warming up your muscles first, right?
Definitely not. I can practically feel the pulled hamstring just thinking about it.
It's the same principle in dating. You need to warm up those emotions, build some rapport before you dive into asking for a number or a date.
Okay, so how do we warm up those emotions before asking for her number?
It's about creating a genuine connection, stimulating her emotions, and showing that you're genuinely interested in her as a person. This can involve a mix of humor, shared interests, or even a little bit of playful teasing to keep things light and flirty.
So instead of just focusing on getting her number, I should be focusing on having a fun, engaging conversation that makes her feel good.
Exactly. The number is just a byproduct of that connection. If you've created a genuine spark, getting her number will feel natural and effortless.
You know, I've definitely been in situations where I felt like I got a girl's number out of obligation, like she was just being polite, and those conversations never really went anywhere.
It's almost like you can sense that lack of genuine interest, and it throws the whole interaction off balance. So before you even ask for her number, focus on building that foundation of rapport and emotional connection.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's say we've successfully warmed up those emotions and gotten her number now. What's the best time to send that first text?
Again, context is key. If you're chatting on a dating app and the conversation is flowing, go ahead and text her soon after getting her number. You want to keep that momentum going. But if you met her during the day, like at a coffee shop or the park, it might be better to wait until later in the evening when she's had a chance to unwind.
So don't stress about texting her immediately unless it feels right in the moment. It's more about reading the situation and gauging her level of interest.
Absolutely. And remember, even if you don't text her right away, don't wait 3 days. Aim to text her within 24 hours to keep the conversation fresh in her mind.
Okay, so we've ditched the 3-day rule, warmed up those emotions, and figured out the timing of that first text. Now, the million-dollar question, what do we actually say?
Before we dive into specific text openers, let's talk about the mindset you need to have when texting a girl for the first time.
Mindset. I didn't realize there was so much psychology involved in texting.
There definitely is. Your mindset plays a huge role in how you approach the interaction and how confident you come across in your messages.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's unpack this mindset piece. What are we talking about here?
The first and perhaps most important mindset shift is to assume she's interested until proven otherwise. Remember, she gave you her number, she had the option to say no, give you a fake number, or simply walk away.
It's easy to fall into that trap of assuming the worst, especially when you're nervous or feeling insecure. But you're right. She wouldn't have given me her number if she wasn't at least a little bit interested.
Exactly. Give her the benefit of the doubt and approach the interaction with a positive, confident attitude.
So no more overthinking or second-guessing every text I send.
Right now, the second mindset shift is all about recognizing your own value. Don't put her on a pedestal. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of meeting someone new, but it's important to remember that you bring something special to the table, too.
Yeah, I guess it's easy to get intimidated, especially if you find her really attractive.
Totally understandable, but think about all the amazing qualities you have. Are you funny, kind, ambitious, creative? Do you have a passion for something you're really good at?
So working on myself, whether it's hitting the gym, learning a new skill, or just being more present and mindful, actually makes me more attractive to women.
Absolutely. It's not about trying to be someone you're not. It's about investing in yourself and becoming the best version of you. And you know what confidence is contagious when you believe in yourself. She's more likely to believe in you too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Confidence is definitely attractive, but it's not always easy to maintain, especially in the early stages of dating when you're feeling vulnerable.
That's why the third mindset shift is so important, maintaining a healthy level of indifference. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be excited or interested in her, but don't get too attached to the outcome.
So don't put all my eggs in one basket, emotionally speaking.
Exactly. Having that sense of it's cool if it works out and it's cool if it doesn't takes the pressure off and allows you to be more relaxed and authentic in your interactions.
It's like that saying, don't put the key to your happiness in someone else's pocket.
I love that. And it's so true. When you're not overly invested in the outcome, you can approach dating with a sense of playfulness and curiosity, which makes the whole experience more enjoyable for both of you.
And probably makes you come across as less desperate or needy, which is always a good thing.
100%, it shows you have a life outside of pursuing her, which makes you even more intriguing. It's all about finding that balance between showing genuine interest and maintaining a healthy sense of detachment.
These mindset shifts are incredibly helpful. I feel like I'm already approaching texting with a whole new perspective.
That's great to hear. And remember, these mindset shifts aren't just for texting. They can apply to all areas of dating and even life in general.
So with these empowering mindsets in place, let's talk about those all-important text openers. What are some strategies that actually work?
I've got a couple of really effective openers that can help you make a great first impression and keep that conversation flowing. The first one is a playful tease. Do I know you from somewhere?
I like that it's intriguing and a little bit mysterious.
Exactly. It works especially well if you met on a dating app because you can playfully pretend you don't recognize her from her profile picture.
And it subtly implies that she's the one who's been checking me out, which is a nice little ego boost.
Right. It flips the script in a fun, playful way. Now, the second opener is all about referring back to a specific detail from your previous conversation. This shows her that you were paying attention and that you remember something unique about her.
So let's say we were talking about music, and she mentioned loving a certain band. Could I text something like, hey, just heard that new song by band's name, made me think of you?
Perfect. It's personal, it's
Yeah.
relevant, and it opens the door for further conversation. You're essentially picking up where you left off and showing her that you were genuinely interested in what she had to say.
These openers are great, but I have a feeling it's not just about the first text. It's about keeping that conversation going after that initial message. What about maintaining that spark and making sure she's actually enjoying the interaction?
You're absolutely right. The first text is just the first step. It's about creating a fun, engaging dynamic that keeps her wanting more.
Okay, so how do we do that? What are some techniques for keeping her engaged and wanting more?
There are several techniques you can use to spice up your texts and create that flirty, playful vibe. First, don't be afraid to tease her playfully. It creates a sense of lightheartedness and shows that you don't take yourself too seriously.
So like if she sends a funny emoji, I could tease her about her emoji game.
Exactly. Or if she says something a little quirky, you can playfully call her out on it. The key is to keep it light and fun, never mean-spirited.
What else? What other techniques can I use to keep those texts flowing?
A little cockiness can go a long way now. I don't mean being arrogant or disrespectful, but try assuming she's the one pursuing you.
So instead of, hey, how was your day? It's more like, so I'm guessing you've been thinking about me all day.
It's all about that playful, confident vibe.
Okay, I like that it's a nice change from the usual nice guy approach.
Another fun technique is talking about her in the third person. This creates a sense of intrigue and mystery, for example. Instead of saying, I bet you're really good at something, you could say, a little birdie told me she's amazing at something.
That's clever. It's like you're building her up without directly complimenting her.
Exactly. It's subtle and playful, and it shows that you're paying attention to her.
I'm loving these techniques. Are there any others we should know about?
Yes. Play along with her and exaggerate her responses. This can lead to some hilarious banter and show that you have a good sense of humor. For example, if she says she's tired, you could say something like, oh no, I've worn you out just by texting you. I must be irresistible.
I love that it's so over the top and playful. It's clear you're not taking things too seriously.
That's the key. Remember, the goal here is to create an emotional connection, not just exchange information. You want to make her laugh, make her feel good, and leave her wanting more.
So it's not about memorizing lines or being a texting robot. It's about using these techniques as inspiration to create a fun, flirty dynamic that showcases your unique personality.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more natural and effortless these techniques will become. It's like having a toolbox full of different techniques, and you can choose which ones work best for you and the specific interaction you're having.
That's a great analogy. It takes the pressure off trying to be perfect or follow some rigid script.
Yeah.
It's more about understanding the principles and then adapting them to your own style.
Exactly. And remember, texting is just one piece of the puzzle. It's a way to build anticipation and excitement for an actual date.
So don't get stuck in an endless texting loop.
Definitely not use texting as a tool to create that spark, but the real magic happens when you meet face to face.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from ditching the 3-day rule to embracing the right mindset and mastering some killer texting techniques. But what about those moments when things don't go as planned? What if she's not responding the way I hoped, or the conversation seems to be fizzling out?
It's all about staying flexible and reading the cues she's giving you. If her responses are short delayed or lacking enthusiasm, it might be a sign to switch gears or even pull back a bit.
So if she's giving me one-word answers or taking hours to respond, that's my cue to maybe back off.
Exactly. You don't want to come across as needy or desperate sometimes. Sometimes giving her space can actually make you more attractive.
Because it shows I have a life outside of my phone, and I'm not sitting around waiting for her to respond.
Precisely, it shows you're confident and secure in yourself, which are incredibly attractive qualities.
Okay, so let's say I'm getting those signals that she's not super engaged. What's the best way to handle that? Should I just stop texting altogether, or is there a more graceful way to disengage?
You can always try changing the subject, bringing up something new and interesting to see if you can re-spark the conversation, or you can simply say something like, "Hey, gotta run, talk soon," or "It was great chatting with you. Have a great night."
That way I'm not ghosting her or leaving things on a bad note. I'm just gracefully exiting the conversation and leaving the door open for future interaction.
Exactly. It's all about leaving a positive impression and making her want to reach out to you next time. And if she doesn't, well, that's okay too. It's just a sign that it wasn't meant to be. And there are plenty of other amazing women out there waiting to connect with you.
That's a great reminder. Sometimes we get so focused on one person that we forget there's a whole world of possibilities out there.
It's all about staying open to those possibilities and not getting discouraged if things don't work out with one particular person. Dating is a journey, not a destination.
This has been so insightful, Sophie. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on texting and dating in general. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
Just remember, texting is just one tool in your dating arsenal. It's important to eventually transition from texting to phone calls and real-life dates.
So don't get stuck in an endless texting loop.
Exactly. Use texting to build that initial connection and excitement, but don't let it replace actual face-to-face interaction. That's where the real magic happens.
Right.
Exactly. Use texting to build that initial connection and excitement, but don't let it replace actual face-to-face interaction. That's where the real magic happens.
Well said. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me today is the importance of mindset. Approaching texting with confidence, knowing your worth, and not being overly attached to the outcome can really make a difference in how you communicate.
It's a game changer when you're coming from a place of self-assurance and genuine interest. It shines through in your messages.
And it probably makes the whole experience less stressful and more enjoyable too.
Mhm.
No more agonizing over every word or waiting for hours for a reply.
Exactly. It frees you up to be more present and authentic in your interactions.
So we've talked about the mindset, the openers, and how to keep the conversation flowing. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier, warming up those emotions before you even ask for her number. What are some specific ways to do that in real life interactions?
It's all about creating a genuine connection and stimulating her emotions in a positive way. Humor is a fantastic tool. Making her laugh shows that you're playful, intelligent, and able to put her at ease.
So don't be afraid to crack a few jokes or share a funny story.
Absolutely, but make sure your humor is authentic to you. You don't force it or try to be someone you're not. Another great way to warm up those emotions is to find common ground. Did you meet at a concert, talk about your favorite bands? Are you both bookworms? Discuss the last great read that blew your mind?
Finding those shared interests can really help build rapport and make the conversation feel more natural.
Exactly. It shows you're paying attention and that you're genuinely curious about her as a person. And here's a little secret. A touch of playful teasing can be incredibly effective.
Teasing. I thought that was a no-no in the early stages of dating.
When done right, playful teasing can actually create a lot of attraction. It shows you're confident, witty, and able to create a fun, flirty dynamic.
Okay, so how do I tease someone playfully without coming across as mean or disrespectful?
It's all about your delivery and intention. Keep your tone lighthearted and your body language relaxed. Focus on teasing her about something lighthearted, like her taste in movies or her terrible sense of direction. Never tease her about something sensitive, like her appearance or her insecurities.
So if she tells me she loves reality TV, I could playfully tease her about her guilty pleasure.
Perfect. Or if she gets lost trying to find the bar where you're meeting, you can gently tease her about her navigation skills. The key is to make it clear that you're just having fun and that you don't actually think she's a bad person.
Got it. So humor, shared interests, and a little bit of playful teasing are all great ways to warm up those emotions before asking for her number.
Exactly. Remember, the goal is to create a genuine connection and leave her feeling good about the interaction. If you've done that, getting her number will feel like a natural next step rather than a forced or awkward moment.
This has been incredibly insightful, Sophie. I feel like I've learned so much about texting, and I know our listeners are going to get a lot out of these tips.
I hope so. Remember, texting is just one part of the dating journey, but it's an important one. By mastering these techniques and approaching texting with the right mindset, you can create those sparks that lead to amazing connections.
Well said. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on Love Hackers, your daily dose of dating advice. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Sophie Tanaka.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode with anyone who could use a little boost in their dating game. See you tomorrow for more love hacks.